Hello and welcome back to the Average Oddcast. I'm your host, Mike Keith, back with another episode. Golly, it's been about a month and a week maybe since our last episode, and we talked about spring cleaning, and we're still spring cleaning, and it's summer now. It's officially summer. We've had the longest day of sunshine here in Seattle, and it's beautiful, and as sunny as it is, we're on the downward slope back into darkness. Just when it got good, it is awesome. Here's what happens if you live in Seattle in the summertime. When you've lived here, if you live a whole year, a whole calendar year, a whole year of the Lord in Seattle, you will become one person in the winter, and then the sun comes out in the summer, and you get a whole new personality. So if you don't like your personality, move to Seattle, and you're going to discover multiple personalities in your life. That's what I've discovered since moving here. The sun goes down in the winter. You become one deeply depressed person. I'm just kidding. Some people do, actually. That isn't a joke for many people. And I'm with you in that. And it is a truly an incredible thing. And most people, it is this beautiful moment of just warmth and community in Seattle. And for some people, I think they don't know. They've come out of their house and they've forgot how to interact with people. I was walking down the street with my wife, and we were walking side by side, holding hands as a beautiful couple who loves each other does. And this person is walking in front of me. And I think this is a sidewalk where you can go about 2.5 people deep. And we're getting pretty close to each other. And one of us is going to have to move. So I kind of take a step back and let this person pass. And I notice them do a double take at me. So then I look back and they snap. They're like, "Give me a dirty look. You need to learn how to walk. You just learned how to walk. You give me a dirty look. You got to get out of the way." And I'm like, whoa, I'm sorry. What is happening? And they are just rifling through sailor language, just riffing. No, they weren't slurring me. But they were just so aggressive out of the gate, just about how horrible and I never stopped walking, and this person has now begun following us, just cursing me out about how I need to learn how to walk and where do I get off. And I was like, I'm just going to apologize to this person, because they had followed us for a block and a half at this point. So I said, "Hey, look, I'm sorry. Okay. Before this, I was being a little rude. I will confess. I was like, who wronged you? Did you get fired today?" Because I was like, this couldn't be if this interaction sets you off this much, you are unwell. The sun is out. I used to have this bad habit of when I got into tiffs like this, I would say, "I'm praying for you." But God's been growing me. I've been repenting of that. It's not a helpful thing to say to people. And I'll be honest, I'm usually not praying for them. But in this time, I was just trying to help them see the audacity of their reaction to what happened, which was maybe me taking too long to step out of their way, which is something they could have done. But I was trying to be courteous and get out of their way. And I noticed their double take. So I just looked back oh, what's going on? And anyway, so they followed us for like 2 blocks, and I say, hey, I'm sorry. I stopped saying, like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like, can we just stop this? And they say, oh, thank you. And they go right back into cursing us out. But thankfully, they did stop following us. And Megan and I were walking to the office place of our place of employment. And we walk in, and no one else is in this building. We're about to meet with somebody, our supervisor, for like a time of like a meeting. And but they're not there. And we get into the building, and then like all of a sudden the doors open, and Meg, my wife, freaks out because her first thought is this person sneakily was still following us and has followed us into this office building where we are alone, and they're gonna corner us now. But it was just our boss, and that was a crazy time. I think the beautiful thing about living in Seattle is you always got a story. There's always a story in Seattle. There's never a dull day, and there are many opportunities. You know, if you work in tech, if you're a comedian, there's a lot of opportunities here to get on stage. There's a lot of stage time here at like the open mic level, the local showcase level. There's some independent shows. I've been running the show Sips and Giggles at this local wine bar, Mora. If you're in Seattle, go check out Mora on Roosevelt. It's pretty close to where I live. And we've done a couple shows there and had some local comedians headline and kind of showcase on that show. It's been a really fun time. And it's just so much work. It's so much work to produce a comedy show. And I think I've produced, like put together 7 or 8 comedy shows, and I've done like different formats for shows. And people ask me like, do you make money on these things? And the answer is no. I am just trying to get more stage time. I'm trying to get opportunities, and I'm trying to make opportunities, and I'm trying to not lose money on these things. I should have like calculated the hours spent to make these shows happen. But even more than that, it's just like the mental occupation of producing something. It's just a lot of work. And because pretty much all of them, except for the last 2, have been at different venues. So you got to find the venue, set a deal with the venue, it's just so much work. And I'm just trying to get more stage time because I am an open micer comedian. And if you're not a comedian, that doesn't mean as much. If you are a comedian, you know where I'm at. You know I'm not good. You know that I just need to be writing jokes and be on stage. At these shows I've been doing, Sips and Giggles, are clean shows. I don't even really market them as that. But if someone asks me, so they're just trying to be shows that anybody can come to, just whatever, like anybody can come in and just enjoy it. But I also don't, because I feel like you hear clean comedy and you just think of like dorky, unfunny, just kind of silly, like, not that silly's bad, but like silly, like Laffy Taffy jokes. No, it's trying to be like good, but just like, you're not going to be grossed out by like what's happening. If you go to any open mic, pretty much any open mic, comedy open mic ever, you're going to be grossed out. People are going to say disgusting things that really sometimes aren't funny. Sometimes they are funny. But hopefully, if you're paying for a show, hopefully it's going to be, people who have really worked on these jokes. And I don't know. They've been fun though. As much as work as it's been fun times. And I've gotten stage time, and I've told jokes, and hopefully I've gotten better. And recently I was at, it's kind of like a showcase open mic. It was in Auburn, Washington at Draft Choice. If you've been there, maybe you know about it. And I was talking about Chicken Patty Day at school. Once, Chicken Patty Day. So if you don't know, that's just like a fried piece of probably fake chicken. But and like how we did it at our school was like Chicken Patty Day was like this, thinly fried slab of chicken meat with mashed potatoes and gravy on it. And people would always try to be like, who can eat the most chicken patty? Like people would buy multiple trays, like 7 trays of chicken patties, just trying to eat the most. And I'm like, who has this kind of chicken patty money? But I was talking about chicken patties, and this guy from Canada, well, I didn't know. I guess I didn't know he's from Canada, but he just like starts heckling me. He's like, yells out like, in Canada, we didn't have Chicken Patty Day. We had Chicken Pad Thai Day. And I didn't know Canadian public schools were so bougie. I think maybe, did y'all just like reallocate like your tax money into your schools to, like, how are you guys doing free healthcare and you're doing chicken pad thai instead of chicken patty? Pretty impressive. And totally ruined the timing of that joke, which I was actually closing on. So that did not end well. But I've got good news, and this may be controversial to say, but we're all doing a good job. So congratulations, you are doing well. You may have heard elsewhere the opposite, but I think we're all okay. And it's all going to be all right. In the words of Kendrick, we going to be all right. And thank you all for supporting what we do here. You are why we do this. You know, I guess if no one listened, I don't know if I would do this. I think if more people kind of sent in, write in. Drop a comment if wherever you're listening to this on YouTube, on the spots. Email me at miketonyheath@gmail.com. Would love to hear from you if you're enjoying this. And you can also drop a voicemail on the hotline. And thank you. This is an anonymous listener's voicemail that we're listening to. Came in since we last did an episode. And thank you for sending this in. Let's listen to it together. Here we go. Okay, it's a lot of whistling. Okay. And they're still whistling. It's actually pretty impressive. This is a whole new song. I think so. I think this is a new song. I can't. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. You a Merry Christmas. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas from the bottom of my heart. Okay, so this is a new song. The lungs on this person to be whistling. The amount of salivation in their mouth. This might be a professional whistler. Look, that's not the voicemails maybe I had in mind whenever we set up this ability for people to leave voicemails, but that's the voicemails we're getting. And, you can take what you can get. And that's, I guess that's what we're going to do. We're going to take what we can get. Beggars can't be choosers. I think it's similar to another voicemail that we got. Maybe we even played on the last episode. Whoever you are, I want to thank you again for sending in a voicemail. Not what we were expecting, but still pretty good. I think some other cool stuff that's been happening in the world besides obviously that, I don't know what you would call a whistled song besides just like a song where someone just whistles, but I'm impressed. And I am impressed by people's commitment to a bit. That is, when someone is on stage, and this is just where my mind first goes to, and like they are like acting out some situation they're trying to make a joke about, or just like in general in like life, when someone full on commits, regardless of the embarrassment, the time spent, the amount of money that goes into it, when someone just goes all in on something, I respect that. And there is this man in California. I wish I could pronounce this name. It's actually Etienne Constable. Etienne Constable, a person who lives in Seaside, California, owns a boat, and they were and maybe you've seen this story. This is like I think this story is like back from May, I think is when it kind of came out. And essentially he'd parked his boat in like on like the side of his house, but I don't know if it was like some HOA thing, but people were like, you gotta cover this up. You gotta have like you can't just be like parking this out here. I actually don't know all the details, but essentially all we need to know is his boat was parked, and you're gonna have to either move this boat, or you can't just like have it out so everyone could see it. So he had to be complicit with the codes, the laws of his city in Seaside, California. He had to hide his boat with a fence. And what this guy did was he built a fence in front of where he parked his boat, but then did one of those like optical illusion paintings where it like people will like it's like one of those things where like the roadrunner would like run into the wall because it looked like it was like this tunnel, but it was just like a wall. So that's what he did. So if you're listening to the audio version of this, picture a fence, but it looks just like as if the fence wasn't there. He painted that. So like he took a photo of his boat just pictured next a picture of his boat parked next to his house, and then essentially built, a fence 6 feet high and took the bottom 6 feet dimensions of that photo and just painted it on the fence. So it's like an optical illusion, like his boat is still parked there. And I don't know, if this guy, whoever Etienne was, I imagine he probably had to pay a muralist to come and paint this. Just so committed to being a troll. And I respect you, Etienne. I don't think this is probably going to get to you. You probably don't listen to the pod, but I respect the effort. That's the kind of effort I want to live my life with. That's the kind of person I want to be. This is a good time to introduce someone, an organization even, who is fully committed to providing you with products of the utmost value. One of our sponsors, the Knitpick Collective. This week's episode of the Average Oddcast is brought to you by our friends at the Knitpick Collective. The Knitpick Collective is an online clothing brand that represents a group of artists and comedians. Their site offers unique, all-over print sweatshirt designs, as well as apparel that you won't be able to find anywhere else. Let me ask you, do you like frogs on penny farthing bikes? How about rainbow unicorns? How about vacuuming every day? Well, then this site might be for you. You can use the promo code so many things, no spaces in there. It's all caps, and you can get 20% off shirts, hoodies, and hats. Pull up a tab on your cell phone or wherever you're watching this, wherever you're listening to this, and go to the Knitpick Collective. That's knit with a K, and tell them Mike sent you. Our sponsor, the Knitpick Collective, has a shirt that says vacuum every day. Now, I don't vacuum every day, but I do vacuum, some would say, too much. And I don't know if it's a result of not having a good enough vacuum, or I obsess over a clean floor. And I got this weird thing. I got a couple weird things about me. I love a clean environment, but I will often have, and clean and like organized, but there'll be like small spaces that are just cluttered that I just try to get out of my view of sight. And I want to be the kind of person that has just the simplest environment. I like the idea of simplicity, but I have hoarder tendencies. I mean, to get rid of a t-shirt is the hardest thing for me. To get rid of, just like, I have Eclipse glasses from the eclipse in, what was that, 2017, that I still have. Because I saved them thinking I might need these again in the future. I don't want to have to pay for new Eclipse glasses. And you know what? We had another American eclipse, and I didn't even get to use them because it was too cloudy in Seattle. So I held on to these, what were probably, I don't know, maybe $3 glasses for, what is that? I held on to them for 7 years. Was it 2018? Even if it was 2018, 6 years, so long. I mean, I took them from the state of Missouri to Spokane, into Marriage, all the way to Seattle to not use them. And in our spring cleaning, I was like, got to get rid of these glasses. I still haven't got rid of them because I'm thinking, well, what if we have another one of these eclipses? They don't take up a lot of space. And that is just so, I don't know. Is it like the growing up with not a ton of money? I don't know. You never see, I feel like you don't see a rich hoarder. Like that's just something that someone who has experienced some level of poverty or just being poor to some degree. I'm not saying we grew up like real poor. That's mom and dad. If you're listening to this, you guys did great. I always had, brand new athletic shoes. I feel like I got basketball shoes every year. I played basketball. I got football cleats. Every time I needed shoes, I got shoes. Like, we were doing all right. But we weren't, we even had a pool in the backyard. It was an above ground pool. It wasn't an underground pool. But we had a pool. And so, we were doing all right. We had a pool. We had pool money. We had above ground pool money. That's what kind of money we were rocking. But yeah, I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like if you have underground pool money, if you got salt water pool money, y'all ain't hoarders. Because you're like, throw it away. If we need another one in 5 years, we'll buy it. That's my perception. I've never been that kind of person. I don't know if I'll ever be that kind of person to have that kind of money. But I'm saying, I think that's a poorer tendency to be a hoarder. And I've got it bad. But at the same time, I want to be simplistic. I want to have less stuff, but I can't get rid of stuff. And I would like to have a joke about that. And I haven't figured it out yet. And I hope one day, in the not so distant future, I do have a joke about it. And I want to talk about this. Not more jokes. The TV show Dark Matter. I'm real into sci-fi stuff. I like reading C.S. Lewis's Space Trilogy. I'm still drudging through the end of the Dune series. I'm on book 5 of 6, and I've been on book 5 for, I think, maybe over a year, because it's nowhere as good as the first 2. Way less good than the first 2. Not as good as 3. Not as good as 4. It just is like a slow decline. Kind of like after you hit the summer solstice, the brightest, or the day with the most sunlight, you're slowly going back down to the shortest day. That's what it's like. But I feel like there's like a steep drop off, so it's not a perfect analogy. Anyways, I'm really into that. But Dark Matter is a great sci-fi series on Apple TV, which I think we're about to get rid of. I don't know. Meg got a new Apple phone, so we got like 3 months of free Apple TV. So we're probably about to get rid of it. But Apple TV is doing sci-fi TV so good. I mean, Severance is great. Silo is great. Foundation isn't as good, but I like it. Dark Matter is really good. Severance, I think, is the best. The premise of that show, you are like severed. This company is, Lumen is, they have this technology where you separate your work and your outside life, and you don't remember what happens at work. You don't remember, they're like innie and an outie. The innie is the person at work that only knows work. They never sleep. They only clock in when you clock in at 9, clock out when you clock out at 5. And then that innie is like a severed personality or severed consciousness. And it's taking them 5 ever to get a new season out. But Dark Matter just came out, and they had, I think they just came out with their season finale. And the premise of it is kind of like alternate realities. And that has like, I'm trying to think how to say it because it's still really new, so I don't want to do any spoilers, but I want to talk about this. Is just imagine if you were, gosh, how do I do this and not do a spoiler? I'm having a hard time right now. This is I don't know. This is this feeling I have right now of feeling stuck in what to say is often how I feel in writing a joke. It's like I want to say something so bad. The desire to say it is so great, and the inability to say it how you think you need to say it feels so great. And hopefully one day I get good enough at comedy where I don't feel that as much. I look forward to that day. I hope you guys enjoy this. I don't know. I think it's always better when I have somebody else on. I think let me get back to Dark Matter, then I'll finish with that thought. Dark Matter is a great show. It deals with kind of multiverse, kind of like alternate realities, and it's got Joel Edgerton, which I believe I can either confirm nor deny this 100%, but I believe I went to so I went to my friend's birthday who is in their late 20s, and they wanted to go to the zoo. What a wholesome thing to do for your birthday. We walked around the zoo, and I am almost certain that I saw Joel Edgerton, which is a star of the show Dark Matter. I did not know about the show Dark Matter, and I could not remember Joel Edgerton's name, but when I saw, I knew I would when they were walking by. We were by the giraffes in the Seattle Zoo, by that exhibit. So Joel, if you're watching this, man, you gotta let me know. It's gonna eat me up for the rest of my life. Were you walking through the Seattle Zoo with an empty stroller? Because if not, you have a doppelganger who was there. I don't know. This is probably 3 or 4 weeks ago now. I could have sworn, I was like, I know this guy. He's like a famous actor. I've seen him in stuff before, but I could not the whole day. The whole time we're at the zoo, we went out to lunch, we went home, and I was Googling people. I Googled white actors for an embarrassing amount of time. I might have Googled and looked through lists of white actors for an hour, and to no positive result. I couldn't find your face. I couldn't find Joel's face. And then I was turning on Apple TV because I was like, oh yeah, we have Apple TV. We don't have Netflix. We got the boot because we were bumming my mom's password for a while, and we don't live in the same house, so we can't get it, with the same area. I don't know. It's not working out. So I was like, let me see what's on there. And I was like, oh, a new sci-fi show on Apple TV. I like Severance, Dark Matter. And who is the star of Dark Matter? Joel Edgerton, the guy I saw at the zoo. And that was literally the same day, which is still mind-blowing that happened. And I tried to express how just crazy that was, right? That the day that I see this gotta be a famous person pushing an empty kid's stroller through the Seattle Zoo, and I'm thinking about all day, who is this person? I get on there, I've given up Googling, and bam, the star of a new, what I would say, hit TV show that I love, by the way. I don't know if that's God. I don't know if God is God is with me, in me, by the Holy Spirit. So I guess God is in that. I don't know. It just is such a cool thing, and I'm just so thankful that I hopefully, one day, I don't need to be famous, but I don't need to be rich. But if I can meet Joel Edgerton and ask him about that, that would be a good day for me. That's all I'm looking for. That's all I want. And that feels like a good place to stop. Coming up, we got Hopefully we're gonna go visit the friends, a co-host, essentially an unofficial co-host of the podcast, Jimmy Chuckles, aka Kyle, aka the great Kyle Ultikin, Chuck Wagon, and his wife Lucy and their new baby. Not sure if they want their baby's name on the internet, like in this format, so I won't reveal that, but we'll call him Easy E from now on, little Easy E, and kind of use his government code name. Not really government code name, but let's just say his cultural code name. I thank you for listening. If you listen to this far, you are at day one. You are a real one, and I want to invite you to keeping this going. And hopefully, I started this thing called Patreon. If you haven't heard of it, if you care about what we're doing here, if you care about seeing me grow in stand-up comedy, if you want to support me doing that more, you can go see exclusive content there, unreleased videos of me doing stand-up on there. You can see behind the scenes of this podcast. You can see the I don't know if we'll have a behind the scenes for this episode, but the past couple episodes, you can see a BTS there, and you can try it out for free, I think, for a week. So you could probably go binge everything that's on there, and see if you're about it before committing to be about it. And I think that's cool. And if you have any tips, on making that better, or what you want to hear on this podcast in the future, I don't know how many episodes will happen over the summer, but maybe none. If this doesn't happen with Chuck, doesn't happen with Meg, this may be the last one for a while. But just know I'm trying to be more funny. I'm trying to write some jokes this summer, and I'm trying to rediscover some joy in life, and try to be more joyful, be more grateful, to enjoy the present moment where I'm at, and not focus on what I'm not and where I'm not at, but just enjoy where God has me and what I've been given. And maybe that's an encouragement to you this summer. So until next time, my friends, stay funny and stay weird. Peace. Oddly funny world. Oddly funny world. Oddly funny world. We all live in an oddly funny world. Oddly funny world. Oddly funny world. Y'all live in an oddly funny world. An oddly funny world. Oddly funny world. We all live in an oddly funny world. Oddly funny world. Oddly funny world. Great shot.